So what would happen was first they gave him sex, they gave him power, they would really pressure him, to go through things, and then they would basically, just condition them to do whatever they were told, and they called it the cement of blood, because then it's just like satanic cults say, kill your dog. I mean, I remember when I was growing up in Rockwell, Texas, I ran into like a satanic cult. I was like, God, this girl's a senior in high school. She's super hot. I'm in ninth grade, and like she's picking me up in her Mercedes, and I'm taking me some mansion, and the sex with her is incredible. And I'm walking out of the house because I looked like I was about 16 when I was 13, and the dad goes, "You like screwing my daughter?" "Yeah, I screw her too."
Whoa!
And just as soon as you join us, you love Lucifer, you get all the hell you want, boy, because we want you. But
what? Really?
Oh yeah, but yeah, man, I've had an incredible life. Look at all the stuff I do now. But the point is that hell, you're in LA, you know about all this.
Hello everyone, welcome to NeoUnrealist. That opening clip was taken from the last time Alex Jones appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast. Now, if you did not have the good fortune to watch that, do yourself a favor, search for it, and when you get a couple hours to kill sometime, more than a couple hours, it's pretty long. It's some of the craziest footage ever uploaded to the internet. And in any event, you know who Alex Jones is. You know that his InfoWars channel was more or less a memory hold off of all major social media last year. Did he do anything against the law or egregiously violate the terms of service of the various platforms on these Silicon Valley giants? No. At worst, Alex Jones could be said to have put out some ideas and opinions that are, shall we say, less than verified facts. But I wholeheartedly oppose what was done to Alex Jones and his InfoWars business. I mean, in fact, even if you accept the premise that anything Alex Jones did was somehow meriting punishment, let's just think about that for a minute. We let people out of confinement and other judicial remedies that curtail their rights. People who've hurt people, taken other people's lives. Even people who've done, very heinous things, eventually get a chance to have their lives back, or if necessary, start out on a new one. But not on places like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, or PayPal, though. I mean, it seems like you're online, your presence is not just blocked or restricted, it's or put into a timeout, it's just permanently deleted. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Alex Jones, the way things stand now, will probably never be able to go onto those platforms again, let alone recover all the lost content and subscribers on them. So he's essentially an unperson now. And for all time, he's not allowed to come back. And meanwhile, O.J. Simpson has a Twitter account. Think about that for a minute. O.J. Simpson, the butcher of Brentwood, has a Twitter account, but Alex Jones can't ever go on there again. So with that lengthy preamble, I turn your attention to Brian Stelter of CNN, who this weekend put out on a segment on his show bringing on a guest who wrote a book titled The Cult of Trump, and went down a rabbit hole with this guy like something out of an Alex Jones rant. Now, I thought instead of playing the video and having me interject my opinion every so often, instead I'm just going to play Brian Stelter's game and show you just how vapid and shallow this segment was. I've edited in some clips that are relevant to the previous administration, that of Barack Obama, just to show how everything that Stelter goes through with the author of the book, his guest, would actually equally, if not more, apply to the Obama administration. So while not a cult in the sense that this author tries to lump supporters of the current president into, there's a clear Obama cult of personality that was built up. And at the very least, one would think if Stelter, if he was going to go down this road, that he'd have to explain why he didn't do this during the Obama years. So let's go through my own edited version of the CNN segment with rebuttal examples mixed in where appropriate.
The word cult has been popping up more and more. Think back to 2 weeks ago on this program, Anthony Scaramucci talked about his claim that Trump supporters are in a cult. Just last week, Dan Rather said he thinks support for Trump seems increasingly cultish. And this weekend in the Washington Post, Trump critic and Republican strategist John Weaver said the GOP is not a party anymore in the traditional sense, it's a cult.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps away for the inaugural address. What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald.
None of them are mental health experts. Steven Hassan is. He's out with a brand new book called The Cult of Trump. He has firsthand experience escaping the Unification Church back in the 70s, and he's decided to write this book because he believes there's something seriously wrong with our politics.
So I define a destructive cult as an authoritarian pyramid-structured group with someone at the top who claims to have total power and total wisdom.
This was the moment when we began to provide care for the sick and good jobs to the jobless. This was the moment when the rise of the oceans began to slow and our planet began to heal.
Barack Obama is the goodest person we've ever had as a presidential choice. He's honest and he's kind, and quite frankly, he's probably our last hope.
That uses deception and control of behavior, information, thoughts, and emotions.
Obama!
You got Obama phone?
Yes, everybody in Cleveland, low minority, got Obama phone. Keep Obama in president, you know? He gave us a phone.
He gave you a phone.
Do more.
How do you
to make people loyal and dependent and obedient followers.
Okay, now everybody, let's sing it together on the count of three.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
1, 2, 3.
Barack Hussein Obama. He said all the senators to make this country strong again. Barack Hussein Obama. He said all we here today, equal work is equal pay.
So for me, the issue of between an ethical, healthy cult where you're free to think and free to leave versus a destructive cult.
There's nobody more important or influential over your grandparents than their grandkids, you. If they vote for Barack Obama, they're gonna get another visit this year. If not, let's just hope they stay healthy until next year.
I'm referring to Trump's organization and followership as a destructive cult where people are being fed propaganda and they're not being encouraged to think for themselves. They're not being encouraged to really explore and look at the details and arrive at their own conclusion.
This bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like the lack of transparency is a huge political advantage, and basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
You want to say that for people with expensive health insurance plans, they will no longer get a 40% tax break. What if we instead just levied a 40% tax on the insurance companies that sell these terrible expensive Cadillac plans? We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing. So why does it matter? I said, you'll see. And they were posted and that passed. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference. So basically, it's the same thing. We just tax the insurance companies. They pass it on higher prices. That offsets the tax break we get. It ends up being the same thing. It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter.
Much of what they're hearing is emotionally driven, loaded words, thought-stopping and thought-terminating type cliches like fake news or build the wall or make America great again.
Yes, we can.
Well, it's not surprising then that they get bitter. They cling to guns or religion.
You say the president is using mind control, but how's that provable?
So we can start with the pathological lying, which is characteristic of destructive cult leaders.
You can keep your plan if you are satisfied with it. If you like your plan and you like your doctor, you won't have to do a thing. You keep your plan. If you want to keep the health insurance you got, you can keep it. Actually, any insurance that you currently have would be grandfathered in so you could keep. And so you could decide not to get in the exchange the better plan. I could keep my Acme insurance, just a high deductible catastrophic plan. I would not be required to get the better one.
Pathological lying. The guy wanted to talk about pathological lying. Would the PolitiFact lie of the year count as pathological enough? Yes, if you'll recall, PolitiFact named President Obama's if you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan, the lie of the year for 2013. Not just some run-of-the-mill politician, just exaggerating something or using a bit of clever wording to imply something other than his actual meaning. The lie of the year. A deliberate falsehood. Because make no mistake, it was deliberate and intentional, that lie, and it was repeated so often over the course of months and years by the president himself, it was Goebbels-like, in its scale. So, none other than the architect of the plan's underlying economics, Jonathan Gruber, as you saw it in some of those clips, on at least 3 occasions that we know of, told an audience at speaking events that the lie was told in order to exploit what he deemed to be the, quote, stupidity of the American voter or their lack of economic understanding. The guy relegated, the author of this Trump cult book, he relegated just stock boilerplate campaign slogans like "Make America Great Again" to be some kind of mind control phrase, as if all political campaigns don't try to put out, bumper sticker slogans for their supporters to use and connect with around a simple idea. So did he just miss Obama's hope and change messaging? I mean, did he see the poster, the T-shirts, or how about "Yes, we can"? Fired up, ready to go. So at best you could say Trump, maybe he's constructed a cult of personality, but that's not a cult in the sense that the guest is trying to imply in his book. A cult that would actually physically isolate you from even your own family so that they could fully control the information flow to the subject. Now that's a cult. Did Trump supporters start a movement to cut off contact with family members who did not join the group and committed the sin of voting for another presidential candidate? Or was that celebrities and rabid Obamaites who have, if you've forgotten, they actually engaged in a campaign in 2008 called the Great Schlep to encourage Obama voters to extort their grandparents by threatening to withhold visitation from them contingent upon them voting against John McCain and for Barack Obama? Or was it Trump supporters in 2016 who engaged in a grassroots effort to not attend family holiday gatherings such as Thanksgiving if parents or siblings voted Trump instead of Clinton? Does that not sound more like a cult behavior to you? Isolating cult members from contact with their family and loved ones based on purely political wrong-think motives? That's just a question I'd like to ask Brian Stelter and his allegedly learned guest. I mean, as for destructive cults, I forget which political campaign supporters rose up in multiple cities on election night and on the inauguration day back in 2016 and early 2017 when their favorite candidate did not win and caused millions upon millions of dollars in property damage and worse. I'm pretty sure that when Obama won in 2008 and 2012, supporters of McCain and Romney didn't engage in that kind of behavior. It's curious that in almost every instance, where the left levies some accusation or label, it usually describes what they've done or, their own nature. I mean, after all, it was not Trump that school teachers were composing songs for their young students to sing in praise of a presidential candidate, was it? Barack Hussein Obama. Is that how it went? Anyway, so I guess CNN is InfoWars now, and Brian Stelter is its Alex Jones. So How long before the CNNs, the CNN channels on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter, how long before their presence there gets taken down, you think? Yeah, I didn't think so. That's all for this NeoUnrealist. If you want to help the channel, do me a favor. Hit like for this video. Leave a comment below. Mash down on the subscribe button. If you're not already subbed to the channel, you could, and you have to click on the notification bell beside it if you want to keep up with the content. You got to put it on that all setting. Otherwise, it's pretty much useless. If you do want to contribute directly to the channel and toss your hard-earned dollars into the tip jar, follow links below to Patreon, Subscribestar, or PayPal. If you watch this on BitChute, you can just click on the green tip pledge button on the video player. But keep an eye out for the channel membership option on YouTube. That should be ready very soon. But ultimately, to all of you, thanks for watching.
Here, let's read this one here. The significance of the research, he explained, is that although the cell phone power is low, electromagnetic radiation can nevertheless have an effect on mental behavior when transmitting at the proper frequency. What is this article, Jamie?
Scientific American.
In Scientific American, it's titled Mind Control by Cell Phone.
So it really does have an effect.
They did a whole study on it.
But let's go further. It doesn't...
Yeah.
So there is. So would you think that they're making this?
No,
5G
they declassified last year a 37-page CIA manual from the 1970s where they were putting up cell towers that look like trees, already testing it in neighborhoods.
Okay, they do that now, right?
So you're saying the cell phone tracks you and watches you and controls you and surveils you, and you think that it's one way. But beyond that, it's a microwave relay system that can manipulate, and then the towers are even more powerful. So this is a device given to us by the gods, okay, given to us by the technology that the breakaway government, NASA, has developed that you don't just think they made up themselves, right?
What do you mean? Who do you think made it up?
Well, when you're ready to get to it, I want listeners to understand something. And notice the media is not